Commander HFY of the Galactic Conservation Fleet stared at the holographic display with 3 of his 4 eyes, the 4th tracking the nervous movement of the human liaison officer beside him. The image showed something that defied every xenobiological principle he had studied in his 2 centuries of service. "Explain this again," HFY clicked in his native tongue, the universal translator rendering his words in flat, emotionless standard. "The apex predator offspring? They voluntarily approached the human?" Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's representative to the Galactic Conservation Council, nodded calmly. "That's correct, Commander. The lion cubs wandered away from their pride during a territorial dispute. When our tracking team found them 12 hours later, they were sleeping peacefully next to Marcus Jennings, a local farmer. The 3rd member of their party, senior biologist Thren Doc, from the crystalline world of Zeraf, extended her sensory tendrils toward the display. "Impossible. Apex predator young are genetically programmed to flee from unfamiliar species. It is a universal constant across all known worlds." Sarah's lips curved into what HFY had learned was called a smile, a peculiar human expression that somehow conveyed both amusement and warmth. "You're forgetting something important about humans, Doctor. We have a rather unusual relationship with predators." The hologram shifted, showing the scene as it had unfolded. Marcus Jennings, a weathered man with calloused hands and sun-darkened skin, sat motionless against a baobab tree in the African savanna. 2 golden lion cubs, each weighing nearly 30 kilograms, were curled up against his sides like oversized house cats. The man's breathing was slow and steady, his posture relaxed despite being within striking distance of creatures that could easily inflict fatal wounds. "He's not even armed," Thren Doc observed, her crystalline structure flickering with confusion. "No protective barriers, no chemical deterrents, no electromagnetic shields. How did he survive the encounter?" "Because he didn't see it as an encounter to survive," Sarah explained. "Marcus has been farming that land for 40 years. He's helped deliver calves, rescued injured wildlife, and weathered storms that would send most species scrambling for shelter. When he found 2 lost, frightened cubs at the edge of his property, he did what humans do." "Which is?" HFY asked, genuinely curious. He sat down and waited for them to come to him. The alien officers exchanged glances. In their experience, most sentient species followed predictable patterns when confronted with dangerous wildlife. The Zenthari built energy barriers. The Mokhtar used pheromone scramblers. The Vexani simply avoided planets with large predators altogether. But the risk calculation, Thren Doc began. "Humans don't always calculate risk the same way other species do," Sarah interrupted gently. "Marcus grew up around animals. He understood that the cubs were lost and scared, not aggressive. He made himself small, non-threatening. He didn't make sudden movements or loud noises. And most importantly, he trusted them to sense his intentions." The hologram continued its playback. The farmer remained motionless for nearly an hour before the first cub approached. It sniffed cautiously at his boots, then his hands. When Marcus slowly extended his palm, the cub nuzzled it briefly before settling down beside him. The second cub followed soon after. "The chemical analysis shows elevated stress hormones in both cubs initially," Sarah continued, pulling up supplementary data. "But within minutes of contact with Marcus, their cortisol levels dropped to normal ranges. His presence actually calmed them." HFY's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "This contradicts established predator-prey response patterns. Even with interspecies cooperation protocols, there should have been sustained fight-or-flight responses." "That's Because you're thinking of this as a predator-prey interaction, Sarah said. But humans don't fit neatly into that category. We're not prey. We've been apex predators ourselves for millennia, but we're also not competitors for the same resources. Lions hunt zebras and wildebeest. Humans grow crops and raise livestock. There's no evolutionary pressure for automatic hostility. The display shifted to show the rescue itself. When the wildlife team arrived, they found Marcus still sitting calmly with the cubs. He spoke to them in low, soothing tones while the conservation officers carefully approached. The cubs showed no fear of the humans, allowing themselves to be gently guided back toward their tracking collars. Furthermore, Sarah added, humans have a documented history of cross-species bonding that extends beyond mere domestication. We form emotional connections with creatures that, by all logical standards, should see us as threats. Threndok's tendrils drooped with confusion. But the energy expenditure, the risk of injury, where is the evolutionary advantage? Sometimes. There isn't one, Sarah admitted. Sometimes we help because it's the right thing to do. Marcus didn't calculate the odds or weigh the benefits. He saw two babies who needed help, and he provided it. The hologram faded, leaving the three officers in contemplative silence. Finally, Zexhai spoke. Your species continues to confound our understanding of logical behavior patterns. We confound ourselves sometimes too, Sarah laughed. But maybe that's not such a bad thing. In a galaxy full of species that respond predictably to every stimulus, perhaps it's useful to have one that occasionally acts on instinct, compassion, or simple curiosity instead of pure survival logic. Commander Zexhai made a note in his official report. The human colony world of Earth would remain under conservation protection, but the threat assessment level would be adjusted. Any species capable of inspiring trust in apex predator offspring was clearly operating on principles that transcended conventional xenobiological understanding. As the aliens departed, Sarah remained at the observation deck, watching the African. Sunset paint the savannah in shades of gold and amber. Somewhere out there, two lion cubs were back with their pride, carrying with them the scent memory of a kind stranger who had offered safety without asking for anything in return. It was, she reflected, a very human thing to do.